What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today is day 4 of the engine build for the STI. Here's where we left it yesterday. It's pretty much complete. I think really all I need to do is put on the flywheel and the clutch, and it should be ready to go back in the car. Our parts pile's gotten pretty small. All we got left are our spark plugs and coils and starter. We got a radiator, our wastegate, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to get this engine bay ready. I just need to put the air oil separator back mounted up where the pitch stop is, and get the car jacked up and get everything kind of ready to get it dropped in. So that shouldn't take me too long, and then we'll get that clutch and the flywheel on there and get this motor in. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys, let's get this flywheel on here. I already cleaned up this surface and the back of the flywheel. Let's throw this little guy up here. Now I'm gonna screw these in. I just cleaned them up. I'm not gonna use any Loctite or anything. I've kind of read. It seems people are about 50-50 on whether to use Loctite or not. It doesn't say anywhere in the manual to use any, so I'm just gonna screw these guys in there. They all get torqued down to 55.3, and we'll do it in a star pattern or a cross pattern. So we'll go here, 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 just like that. All right, now we can move on to the clutch and pressure plate. Go ahead and give this a good cleaning one more time. All right, and I also did the same on all the little clutch discs here, and same with the pressure plate. Make sure that's all nice and clean. All right. Now, put the clutch in here. Line these holes right there. Put our little clutch alignment tool up in there. Get all our little bolts out and get those things started. So we're just gonna get these all a little bit snug, and then we can torque them down. They're gonna go to 11.8, and we're just gonna go cross patterns. So I'll just start, they kind of go in groups of 3. So I'm gonna go 1, 1, the first one, and then 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3. And we're just gonna go all the way around and keep getting it tight until we get down to 11.8. The clutch alignment, you got this tool right here. You wanna just make sure, get it in the middle. I kind of go side to side and then see where the middle is, and then up and down. And the middle's about right there. You can also see back here where it's touching to see if it's flush or not. I'm gonna go around here. I'm going to spin the motor and make sure the clutch is aligned right. we got our torque wrench set at 11.8. That's still good. So like I said, I'm gonna start right here in the first group of this 3. So the first one, second one, third one, third one. And it might take a minute. I'm not gonna torque them all the way down. So they're pretty much all the way snug down now. So now we can torque them. 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, and then 3, 3. Go around one more time, make sure they're all good. All right, guys, I think we're ready to get this motor in. So I got the clutch fork, throw bearing, all that stuff on there. So we're good to go there. We got our clutch on and our flywheel. So I think we are ready. I'm just kind of doing a double check on everything, make sure there's not something I'm missing. Pretty sure I'm not. So let's get this motor in the air and get it in the car. Alright guys, so it's the next day. I spent probably 3 hours trying to get this motor, and the motor mounts would not line up. So I ended up pulling it back out a couple different times. The issue I was having was that I did not disconnect my pitch stop right here. So the transmission was pressed forward and it was not allowing the motor mounts, the bolts to go in. As soon as I loosened that up, the motor pretty much just slid right in there. So I got that done. I also went ahead and got our downpipe in and our wastegate on there. I got everything bolted up underneath. The transmission's bolted up. The motor's bolted up to the transmission. Pretty much everything underneath the car is done. I shouldn't really have to go back under there too many more times. So my goal today is to get it cranked over, make sure we got oil pressure, and maybe start it. Kind of depends on if I can get all this piping and everything in there. I should be able to get it all together today. It was running just a couple weeks ago, so all the piping and everything should just line right back up. I think I'm gonna start with getting this AC compressor back over here. This is just our oil pressure gauge. I'll move that out of the way. Then I can get the radiator in, the hoses, start getting all the piping and everything in there, get the battery, all that stuff. So I think I'm gonna start with the AC compressor and we'll kind of go from there. So let's get this thing out of the way first. All right, this thing should just kind of go right over. Oh, there we go, just like that. To get these two bottom bolts in, I like to use one of these wobblers, just so that I can get it in there because it's kind of at a weird angle. That one started. Try to get this other one in there. All right, I think we got them both started. I'm just gonna throw that bolt in there so we know it's lined up. All right, this bracket just goes right down there like that. Get these bolts through here. And we'll get our bolt down in here too. Get that on there tight. All right, our AC bracket is on there. Our AC compressor is in. We need to take this little guy back out of there so that we can still get to the spark plugs and all that stuff. All right, get that out. Got the battery cable. Got our ground. So this one runs across to the alternator and to the AC. I'm just gonna put it up underneath here like that. Connect that to the AC. And this is gonna come over here and connect on there and there. So I need to find a nut for that. All right. So we found the nut for the alternator. These wires right here, they connect to there. All right, that is the brake booster line. Right now we gotta get these fuel lines on here. So they're kind of backwards. The top one actually goes to this bottom port, and this one right here that comes out of the bottom is gonna go to the top. Okay, so we got our fuel lines on. Brake boosters on there. We got our heater hoses down here connected. This is for my boost gauge, and this line will go to the blow-off valve. It connects right down there underneath the throttle body. This is also for the blow-off valve. We pretty much got this side all buttoned up. Okay, let's get this radiator in here. It's pretty easy. There's just two little tabs down here at the bottom that it slides into. All right, the whole thing needs to come over a little. Now that's there, so we can put our steering hose. We got our power steering hose on there. And we just got these two brackets that hold the radiator on up here. Then we need to go underneath and connect the lower radiator hose and then put the upper radiator hose on. Okay, now we can get this upper radiator hose on. You know what? I think I want these clamps to be opposite of that, so that we can get to it without having to take stuff apart. We'll just put it like that. There we go. Now we can get to that clamp right down through here. We got those on there. We got that on there, that's there. Okay, I'm just gonna throw these lines on here, probably just temporarily. Because I don't know exactly how the intake's gonna fit, so, or the piping, I can't really remember. So these lines might be coming back off. Then I need to tighten these coolant lines that run to our AOS here. We got this one that comes around and goes to the top of the turbo. And then this line runs down into that side of the AOS. So I'm gonna tighten those real quick. All right, we got our Grimspeed 3-port boost controller. I'm just gonna mount that thing right up here. About like that. Okay, I'm just gonna leave that kind of loose right now because we don't know exactly how that's gonna run. I know this line is gonna go back up here to the intake. I believe this one is gonna run to the top port of the boost controller, or the wastegate. And then this one is going to tee into the turbo. And this will go down to the bottom port of the wastegate. But I'm gonna go ahead and zip tie all these lines up so we don't have to worry about them blowing off. All right, we got those on there. There's just this, it plugs in. It just plugs in right here. Throw this battery in here. It's probably just gonna be temporary for now. So I'm not gonna put the brackets on there yet, since it might need to come out so we can get the spark plugs back in. All right, let's go ahead and fill this thing up with oil. Well, I always like to do the first startup just with the cheapest 530, just regular oil. Right now, I just want to try to make sure we got oil pressure, and then we'll start it up, let it run for a while, and then I'll change the oil and the filter before we actually take it for a drive. But right now I got everything unhooked and we should be able to fill this up with oil and try to prime it. All right guys, we got the oil in there. I got all the spark plugs are out and the fuel pump is unplugged, so we should be good to try and see if we can get some oil pressure. So I got our little gauge mounted over here. We're just gonna see if we can get this thing to move. Alright guys, so it took me a little bit, but we do have oil pressure now. Check it out. I am so glad. So off camera, I ended up having to take all of this back apart, take the timing belt off, take the oil pump off, and I took the oil pump apart, filled it with Vaseline, and put it all back together, and 10 seconds I had oil pressure. So the oil pump was just too dry and just did not have enough suction, so now we're good on that. So now I can move on. I think I'm gonna get the battery strapped down and the overflow tank on there, maybe a couple other things before I finish for the day. But yeah, that oil pump kind of set me back a couple hours, so sorry I didn't record that, but I was just in a hurry and needed to get it done. So, all right, let's do a couple more things. All right, let's get these spark plugs and coils and stuff in real quick. So I gapped them all at 28. Hopefully that's good enough. This is probably the worst vehicle to do spark plugs on. Alright guys, so we got our battery in, our overflow tank here. We got all our spark plugs in and our washer reservoir. So I think we can start putting in our intercooler piping. I'm gonna do the hot side first, real quick, and yeah. All right, first thing, we gotta get this one on the turbo here. All right, guys, so it's getting pretty late. I think I'm gonna wait till tomorrow to try and start it. We got all our intercooler piping on. We got our intake on. I think everything's pretty much ready to go. So tomorrow I'll come out here and fill it with coolant. I got to flash on a different tune since I got rid of the evap. And then hopefully we can try and start it. So I will see you guys tomorrow.